Here's everything you need to know about where NIL is headed. Everybody's going to sue everybody. The end.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks so much for making us your first listen or watch of the day to get your Tuesday going the right way. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Special shout out to all the everydayers joining us, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and our Locked On Tar Heels insiders. So glad you're all here. Let's get right into it. Here's what's going on the show today. We've got new information coming out about kind of the shape and structure of NIL as we get toward the House settlement and the everything that's going to entail. We had some interesting reporting from Ross Dellinger about that on Monday evening. I want to talk about the bloated conferences and what it's doing to our regular seasons. It's completely devaluing them, and I hate it. And then we'll kind of wrap up looking at what's going so well right now for the Diamond Heels, and the All ACC Baseball Awards came out on Monday as well. So that'll all go together. Great conversation. Let's start with some NIL banter. We are getting closer and closer by the day to July 1st and the new fiscal year, when dollars are going to start going directly out rev share to the schools. That's the day when the House settlements rev share concept is scheduled to begin. And so once again, get ready, because it's going to be a whole new world in college athletics over and over and over and over again. And now we're going to start seeing all the posturing and all the strategic moves that everyone's going to be trying to do to make sure they take care of their entity, whether that's an individual or a corporate entity. Ross Dellinger, who does a great job writing on all kind of sports business, more, but man, he's done a great job with this house settlement stuff and kind of the business of college athletics, posted a new article Monday evening detailing this new thing. It's a contract that the Power Conference structure has drafted that, quote, would bind schools to new enforcement rules and require them to waive the right to sue over decisions, end quote. And that comes from sources to Ross Dellinger. Meaning, you know, there's going to be now like a clearinghouse for NIL deals that can either say, yes, we approve it, you can go forward, or no, that's out, you can't. And basically they're going to have, what this thing is it's a contract, an agreement, basically, that makes schools say, we won't sue over these decisions if our athletes get told no. The kicker, the crazy thing here, is that schools who don't sign are going to run the risk of getting bounced out of their conferences over this. Now, this agreement, this whole thing we're talking about here, can't be finalized until the House settlement is officially approved, and that still hasn't happened yet. We're waiting on Judge Claudia Wilkin from California to do that. Remember, a couple weeks ago, she had some things. She was like, this needs tweaking and all that. But ultimately, all of this is ready to go into effect on July 1, and it's just waiting on her signature. So you might be why are conferences trying to do this? Why is this happening? Because, do you remember at the beginning of NIL when certain states started putting things in, even before NIL went into effect, to say our student athletes can benefit from their name, image, and likeness? California athletes can benefit from NIL. And the NCAA hadn't instituted it yet. And so it was like the states were going against the NCAA. And basically, that's what's happening again. Because now states are starting to put laws into place that would continue to allow collectives at the state schools to basically not abide by or to break house settlement related rules. So if there's a certain way you got to go about handling NIL or only a certain type of NIL you can do, these state laws would circumvent that, go around them so you can do whatever you want to do and operate however you want to operate without a cap. And you could continue to pay millions and millions of crazy dollars to your student athletes. That's what's happening here. And it would also, these state laws, prevent official NCAA or conference entities from penalizing those schools. So basically, rendering this agreement that we're talking about that Dellinger reported on Monday night useless, because it's like these state laws would say, hey, I don't care what these conference or NCAA agreements are, you can't penalize us for doing what we're going to continue to do. For example, Tennessee just put one of these into effect on May 1st. Dellinger reported on that in his article. And so the goal is for this agreement, this arrangement, to be signed by all power conference schools, plus any others that are opting into the house settlement payments. And again, if you don't sign, you're going to get blackballed. You might get kicked out of your conference, teams won't play you, etc. But it's weird because basically signing this document is saying, hey, I'm going to follow it over my own state's laws. And it's just, again, it's just causing headaches on headaches on headaches yet again, because everyone is trying to get theirs. And that's the takeaway for me at this point. Everyone, schools, conferences, individual players, the NCAA, they're all doing whatever they need to do to protect their specific entity in this. I don't want to be the one getting screwed, right? So I'm going to put laws in or agreements or whatever it is to take care of me. And so all that boils down to is everyone's going to be suing everyone. That's going to happen over and over and over. And you're going to sue me, and then it's going to be countersuing and trying to, it's going to be insane, you guys. And keep in mind that a massive part of the house settlement and doing all these revenue share payouts, a big part of it is what's being called, quote, NIL Go, end quote, which is basically the clearinghouse that has been tasked with determining if the third-party NIL deals are valid or not. Are they legitimate? Do they have fair market value, etc.? Well, I've been wondering a lot about the numbers surrounding that. Like, what is fair market value going to be? Is it going to continue to be these astronomical numbers that we've seen, or will it shrink? Well, Dellinger reported that at the ACC spring meetings just last week, that NIL Go officials shared some very interesting numbers with ACC officials. That 70%, 7 out of every 10 of past deals from collectives would have been denied. However, 90% of past deals from public companies, like above board things, would have been approved. 70% of booster collective NIL things denied. 90% of past deals they would have approved. How about some more figures? These are from back in March, some more numbers that were shared. About 80% of NIL deals with public companies were valued at less than $10,000. And then 99% of those deals were valued at less than $100,000. So basically, all of these NIL deals that are less shady, that are above board, that are kind of what NIL was intended to be, are 8 out of every 10, 4 out of every 5 are $10,000 or less. And 99% of them are less than $100,000. So what do we learn from all this? Here's my takeaways. What I take away from this is that the clearinghouse, NIL Go, they fully intend to crack down on the obscene amounts of money that are coming from collectives. Basically, collectives just straight up raising millions of dollars of pay-for-play money so they can go pay player X to come play at their school. And remember, the house settlement, when it comes out, is going to have a cap, like a salary cap, basically, a compensation cap. So they're going to crack down on that is what this is telling me, those numbers that they're sharing. And then 2, this whole thing that Dellinger is reporting on, this agreement between the power conference schools and everyone else opting in, is basically to protect the decisions that the clearinghouse makes. Translation, they don't want to get sued when they say no to an NIL deal. That's what this is. So I take it as them basically saying, we want to do everything we can to make NIL truly NIL, where student athletes are legitimately benefiting off their name, image, and likeness, not in a pay-for-play sort of way. But my question becomes then, all right, fine, cool. I love that. And that's the heart of what I always hoped would happen. But can you get that toothpaste back in the tube? I'm not convinced they're going to be able to. And as always, will things like this agreement hold up in court over and against those state laws that are being put into effect? I don't know. And I think the final big point for me in all of this is that there's a misnomer out there when we try to start thinking about putting regulation around all of this. There's a misnomer that when we give agency to student athletes, basically what's fair, and putting guidelines or parameters or guardrails around that agency, that people think that's mutually exclusive. And I don't think it has to be. That's one of the biggest things for me. I feel very comfortable saying, I think players should be able to benefit from their name, image, and likeness. And I think there should be parameters around those what they're able to benefit from their name, image, and likeness. Those things don't have to be exclusive. It's not me saying I don't think they should get what's theirs or whatever. Absolutely not. But even the professional levels, although it's obscene numbers, at least have parameters around it. That's what we need at the collegiate level. Obviously, there's going to be a ton more on this, but just with Dellinger putting this out, I thought it was very interesting and thought it'd be interesting to talk about to kick off the show today. Now, all these power grabs, that of course, that's all the problem, but these power grabs have led to bloated conferences, which have led to odd regular season conference scheduling and standing results. And ACC baseball standings are a great example of what it is we've lost: the cheapening of the regular season. I hate it, but it continues on. We'll talk about that, and I might get a little heated coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, the NBA playoffs are in full swing. The conference championships are just about to start, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action than right now. FanDuel, by the way, makes it super easy for you to stay in the game. You can do it before tip-off like normal. That's great. Maybe you make your picks and selections and all that. But you can also make these picks live. They've got player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. And with that, fans like you have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Tonight, the Timberwolves at Thunder kick off the West Coast Finals Game 1, 8:30. Thunder favored by 7.5 at home. Then tomorrow, Pacers at Knicks Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals at 8. Knicks favored by 4.5 at Madison Square Garden. Both those Timberwolves, I looked at Timberwolves as I said that. The Thunder and the Knicks are both the favorites to win their series. Maybe you're new to FanDuel, and now is the perfect time to sign up, because you can head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, you're going to get back $200 in bonus bets. So make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to the era of bloated conferences. The ACC now has 18 teams in it. In baseball, it has 16 teams because SMU and Syracuse don't play baseball. So 16 teams. Georgia Tech, long history of baseball tradition. Great program, phenomenal. I grew up in Atlanta, and that in football, it might be Georgia. In baseball, it's Georgia Tech every day of the week. Georgia Tech is losing their longtime coach, Danny Hall. Danny Hall was their coach when I was in high school in the early 2000s. It was crazy stuff. When I went to Georgia Tech baseball camp, Danny Hall was the guy. Well, Georgia Tech had a great regular season ACC play. They, in fact, when it was all said and done, won the ACC regular season. Congratulations, Georgia Tech, you did great. But here's the problem. I love regular season. I love what it says about your longevity as a team, your ability to win over and over and over throughout the course of a regular season. But what I don't like is how the bloating of conferences has cheapened what the regular season is. Here's what I mean. Georgia Tech won the ACC regular season. Phenomenal stuff. They did so as an unranked team. They did so, won the ACC regular season, despite not playing teams that finished second, third, and fourth in the ACC standings, being Florida State, the Tar Heels, and NC State. Georgia Tech didn't play any of the other 3 top 4 teams in the ACC standings. They did play teams number 5 and 6 in terms of finish in conference standings. That was Clemson and Virginia. They got to play both of those teams at home. How about that? And guess what? They lost those 2 series. So in the ACC, you play 10 total series. And that means, you can't play yourself. So that means there are 15 other ACC schools. So you play 2/3 of them, 10, and you don't play 1/3 of them, 5. So 5 ACC schools you don't play during the regular season every year because you play 10 3-game series. Wouldn't you like to know, not only did Georgia Tech not play teams 2, 3, or 4, but of their 10 series, remember 16 teams in the ACC, 7 of their 10 ACC series were against teams in the bottom 8 in the conference standings. Yes, 70% of their ACC games were against teams that finished in the bottom half of the conference standings. No wonder they won the ACC regular season. They should have won it by more. And the problem is, this cheapens the regular season. The problem is, this also cheapens ACC tournament seeding. Like Carolina got the 2 seed. I would rather be the 4 because then you get Georgia Tech in the semis instead of Florida State. And I know Carolina just beat Florida State in Tallahassee, but this is insane. It should not be this way. If we're going to continue to award and reward regular season standings for things, then we got to figure out a better way to do it, whether it's divisions or something. There are 8 or 16 ACC teams in baseball. Maybe you are back to divisions, 2 divisions of 8 teams. You play definitely all 7 that are in your division and maybe 3 from the other division on a rotating basis. I don't know what it's got to be, but something's got to be different to where you are getting a more accurate look at all the teams in your conference. And I don't think I'd advocate for playing more games to get there. I just think, how on earth can you finish atop the conference standings having never played any of the other top 4 teams? It's crazy. And so again, NC State, who is the 4 seed, has a leg up because they get Georgia Tech in the semifinals if they win their quarterfinal game. Whereas for both Carolina and Florida State, they've now got to play each other in the semifinals on Saturday. That to me is the de facto championship game. If those two, assuming Carolina and Florida State both win their quarterfinal game, their matchup on Saturday, that's your ACC championship. It's crazy. Y'all, it's absolutely crazy. So anyway, I don't know what to do with that. Because it's not like we're going to go backwards. That's not going to happen. But something's got to be better, man. And this is a glaring example of the negative side of conference bloat, of which there are many in my opinion, but this is a key one. Either North Carolina, Florida State, or NC State should have won the ACC regular season. Now, you get a chance to play it out in the ACC tournament, right? Where Carolina has a great shot to win this thing. I think, quite frankly, based on what they did in Tallahassee last weekend, they've already got a top 8 national seed locked up, which is great because then you get to host in the Super Regional if you get that far. But still, it's weird, man. It's bad, and things got to get fixed. Please, 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 please fix it. Well, thankfully for Carolina, though, if you're good enough, who cares what your seed is? If you're the best team, you can win out. Who cares what other teams are doing? And for the Tar Heels, man, they got the pitching to do it. At least the top 2 guys are absolutely rolling right now, and the Tar Heels need it in a big way. I'll unpack that, as well as the ACC baseball, all ACC teams that were released on Monday. All that coming up in just a second. As we start to think about postseason play for baseball, Carolina coming off a College World Series appearance last year, a lot of that is, as the season progressed on, it was about the offense being so good, so dominant, so powerful. The bullpen was really strong. It was the starting pitching that was kind of like, it's just like, can we just hold on? Guys, can you just give us a couple good innings? This year, it's kind of flipped, where the bullpen is good, but it's not as deep and it's very young. Especially now, this part of the season is where you really miss Matty Mateus, right? Like he's probably in that situation in Game 3 against Florida State on Saturday. But the starting pitching, woo, having Jake Knapp back healthy and being as dominant as he's been, and then handing it over to DeCaro in Game 2, and then Aiden Houck, if, assuming you need that. I mean, it's great. And so the pitching, at least the starting pitching, I feel infinitely better about than I did last year. I said countless times last year, if the Tar Heels were healthy in the starting pitching, they could legitimately win the College World Series, not just get there, because the offense was so good and the bullpen was so good. This year, I think the offense has really figured themselves out. They've learned they got to play a little bit more small ball. They'll hit the home run sometimes, but it's really about, hey, get Kane Kepley on base and let him run wild, right? It's about getting Gavin Gallagher hot, about Alex Madera grinding out at bats, whatever it is. Those kind of things. I think the offense is in a good spot right now. The starting pitching, man, both Knapp and DeCaro are rolling. They look great. I think the key for Carolina is 2 different pitching things in order for them to have the level of postseason success that they are hopeful to have. Is Aiden Houck has to be at least just solid, an innings eater, somebody that's giving the offense a chance, right? Like if he can hold it to giving up 2 runs of performance, let the offense do their work, perfect. But then the bullpen has to grow up really quick, because there's a bunch of arms out there, but the highest leverage arms are all freshmen, like Walker McDuffie, for example. And so we'll see. But man, I think something that gives you a lot of hope is that Jake Knapp and Jason DeCaro look great. And if they can go 6, 7, 8 innings an outing here in the ACC tournament and in the NCAA tournament, allow the bullpen to not have to do too much, I think that's ultimately a win. So to me, how far can Carolina go? Talk to Aiden Houck to figure it out. Now, baseball, all ACC awards were announced on Monday. These are voted on by the 16 coaches. Again, no SMU, no Syracuse, but the other 16 schools, which would include Notre Dame, obviously, in this scenario. Carolina does rack up 1 individual award, as you would probably guess. We talked about it on the show, I think, just yesterday. Jake Knapp is named the ACC Pitcher of the Year, having outdueled Mr. Florida State on Thursday evening. boy, that felt so good. But Jake Knapp, man, congratulations. Great stuff there. He is the first Tar Heel since JB Bagauskas back in 2017 to get this award, and the 5th Tar Heel ever. No surprise, Alex Lodis, who Carolina just played from Florida State, their shortstop, wins ACC Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. I talked about Danny Hall from Georgia Tech retiring, so no shock there that he is named the ACC Coach of the Year for his Yellow Jackets that, again, asterisk, but won the ACC regular season. And then Georgia Tech freshman Alex Hernandez is the Freshman Player of the Year. In terms of the All-ACC teams, Carolina had several representations. On the first team, 3 Tar Heels make it. Jake Knapp, obviously, along with Luke Stevenson, catcher, and Hunter Stokely, the first baseman. On the second team, both Jason DeCaro and Kane Kepley, we've already talked about them today, are on the second team. Third team, man, I love this. Jackson Vanderbrake, who, last year didn't go the way he hoped or wanted, but the captain, man, has had some massive moments this year. Really neat to see him recognized on the third team there. And then Walker McDuffie, who we just mentioned out of the bullpen with his wonderfully dorky glasses, is named to the all-freshman team. Love to see Carolina getting some good representation across the board there. All right, y'all, that's it for today's show. Thanks so much for being with us. If you've not subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on video and audio, make sure you do that now so you don't miss a second of Locked On Tar Heels and everything that we're doing. If you've not joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, that link is in the show notes. Free to join. We'd love to have you come talk Tar Heels all day long with us. And if you want to go even deeper, join the Locked On Tar Heels Insider Program, where you get one-on-one conversations with me. You get all sorts of perks and free access to my stats, my charts, my data, my record books, all of that, man, right there for you to see anytime you want. You guys, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow, but until then, peace.